What's going on, good folks? I said what's going on, people. We will be covering the Storm Collectibles Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero on their 1/12 action figure line. We're going to jump right into it. We're going to cover the good, the bad, and the ugly. We keeps it real over here. All right, I just want to make sure that all of you are purchasing this with good conscience, and you know exactly that it ain't all cookies and bubbles when it's concerning this figure. So here we go. Give you a close-up look of Sub-Zero and his, I like the way they did the scratches and the scrapes, the wrinkles on the gi. That looks pretty good. Coming down here, very soft, pliable material as far as the gi is concerned, so that's good. It doesn't hinder any type of articulation, except for when we get to the butterfly joints, but we will get to that in a second. Like the shin guards that they did, pretty nice. Nice sculpt work. Paint is pretty good too. It's pretty clean. Everything's nice. No peg holes at the bottom of the feet. All is well as far as the buck. If you have the scorpion that came out actually first from this one, then you know exactly what you're getting into as far as the buck is concerned. All right, let's jump right straight into it. The articulation, so the neck can and this faceplate is the bad. This thing comes off extremely too easy. But as far as the articulation, the neck can look down that far there, and it can look back this far. Now it is a ball peg or barbell joint. If you're going to take his head off, I suggest that you pinch it right here and then wiggle it off like that, and then you see the barbell joint that I was talking about. So there, you have no problem doing that, and it snaps back on. But if you don't pinch it by the neck, the whole barbell will want to raise up out of there, so be careful of that. All right, now so for the upper diaphragm joint, you can get a lot of movement from that, and just moving that upper diaphragm joint, he can bend down this far. Now he does have also a waist swivel, and if you move that, he can bend down even further, which that is pretty good. And with both of them in conjunction together, you also can get a nice little bend back there or flex back right up there, so that's pretty good. And then the shoulders do move around 360 degrees, so that's really nice there. And then you do have a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, which works really good there. You do have a universal peg right here on the wrist. You take this wrist off, and it should be noted that with the first line that they did with the first, you know, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and all the other ninjas, my peg used to come off. They seem to fix that problem here, so the whole peg doesn't want to come off when you take this off. So I am happy that they did rectify that situation, because that was a problem with the other Sub-Zero or the other ninjas in general. All right, so articulation wise, his leg can kick up about this far here. It's pretty good. Come back this far. Now this whole butt piece right here, also pliable, so that is not going to get in the way of you actually putting his leg back there. And you do get a double jointed knee there, so that's pretty good. And the upper rotation up here at the upper thigh, you do get that articulation. Great articulation. Cannot come down on Storm for their articulation. Now the ankle pivot is pretty decent, and you do get a pretty decent ankle pivot, so that's pretty nice. And then he does have toe articulation, and the feet, like I said, the ankle pivot is nice. You see the rockers here, so you ain't gonna have any trouble out of the articulation department I see anywhere on this figure. Now, what I don't like, and if you take a look here, and I'll show you the difference, see if we can get enough light in there. Now you see where you have the butterfly joint, okay? He does have a butterfly joint. His arms can come forward Can't do a full body cross because of the gi, even though it's really flexible. But at the same time, I'm not feeling this floating piece in the inside. Now you see when I flex that butterfly joint back like this, you do see that floating piece. Now that floating piece, you can rotate it around in there, but look at this. Why is this floaty piece not out like this floating piece? That's a situation, right? It's in there, it's definitely in there, but either I prefer both my figure, or I prefer my figures to have symmetry. So the left side, I want it to look like the right side, so on and so forth. And I've tried taking the arm off and trying to rotate it. That didn't do it any justice really. So that's one of them situations that, I don't know, Storm should have definitely been able to rectify that before they put it out to us. And also, if you look at this side of his shoulder is coming out, right? And I can try to push this in as hard as I can, but you're always going to see this part of the shoulder coming out, but you're not going to see this part coming out as much. Now, even pushing the gi way up on there, the gi is by the neck, as you can see, the gi is by the neck, but this shoulder seems to be out more than this shoulder. Let's take a look at the back side, right? I'm not trying to be picky. It really is that way if you got it. I don't know if it's coming up on camera as well as I can see it, but it is what it is. Is it going to take away from you buying a fig? I'm not sure. That's up to you. Next, we're going to cover the accessories that come with this figure. All right, so now accessories is concerned, he does come with a skull. That's pretty good. It looks really like covered in blood, and they did a nice little sheen on that. And he does have an articulated jaw that comes with this, so that looks pretty good. And it is on a ball, so you can remove it. Like I said, jaw does articulate. It's pretty decent, pretty nice. Got that wet look, that wet blood look. That looks good. So he does come with that. He also does come with two focused, like karate hands, or yeah, call it, you know, focused, you know, martial arts hands, or what have you. And see, he does also come with two open palm hands. It's pretty good here. A closer look at those. And he does come with two gripping hands, which is done pretty good as well. Really like those hand accessories that he comes with. He does come with this blood effect. Now this blood effect can be placed on his foot. So if you take the figure, basically place it on his foot like so, and it gives the illusion that he is kicking the blood out of somebody's face. And we got a scorpion over here to the side, so that's a nice little effect that they did, putting that in there. Now, the pain in my side right here, this is where it all goes downhill. This, I don't know how well you guys can pick this up on camera or not, but they do have the makeshift handprints in here, where this effect, this is supposed to be his ice blast effect. And you do have like different types of shapes on this ice blast effect. Let's see if I can grab one of these to show you guys. So one of these here, the shape in the inside is for a certain slot you're supposed to plug into here. And you have to get really, really close to it to really see, but you can see right there how that piece hangs down. It's not quite circular. and you plug that into here. Well, it's supposed to be able to plug into here. It does, but I think I grabbed the wrong actual effect for it. Let's see here. I think it's this one here. Nope, not that one there. Ain't this about a bitch? Is it this one here? Yeah, it's this one here, I believe. Yeah, so you gotta follow the shape and you gotta follow the, but the pain in my side is actually when you have to get his hands seated within this, right? Once you get his hands seated within this, the flat hands, right? One goes that way, one goes this way, right? Get those seated in there. The trouble is, when putting it on the wrist peg, you know what? It's better I show you than explain it. Check it out. All right, here we go. Now, as far as effects go, I timed myself how long it took me to put this ice effect seated in his hands, because you have little groove ports that you're supposed to place his finger in, and it took me 15 minutes to do this. When you get this one seated, this one falls out. Then you got the wrist guards that you got to straighten out, so on and so forth. Once you get it all straightened out, it looks pretty good as far as the effects go. It really does. But it takes time, and it takes away from the actual fun factor of the figure. That's the only thing I definitely don't like, is the time that it takes, right? But if you got the time and you got the patience, this effect can be pulled off very nicely. Now, he comes with another ice effect. So you can have this effect here, right? Have this effect, and you have this ground ice effect, which is going to give you the effect that your opponent is slipping on the ice that he lays down. Now, for this effect, you have even longer ice trails. As you can see, they're longer, and they port right here. You have your shapes, so they port right in here, and each shape needs to be lined up and matched. So once you port them in and plug them in, they also attach to, oh, this is supposed to be this way, I believe, yep. And this is supposed to go this way. They also port in and attach to here. So you have 3 of them. You have 3 slots that you have to, and they fall out. You gotta make sure they're seated in there really tight. You have to make sure you port them in there really tight, right? Get them in there, and they have this. Now the downside to this is once you get these plugged in, right? Then you have to match up the shapes here. That's also going to take some time. So you take these out, and then you put these in the 3 slots that they're supposed to be in. But the other thing that I don't like, and here, let me point the camera down, is look at, in the in package, it comes warped. That means you are going to have to go, you're going to have to go to your, whatever you use to heat up, whether it be hot water, whether it be a blow dryer, and you're going to have to lay something flatten this thing out somehow, some way that it sticks flat on the ground. Because when you're doing fig photography, the shot is not going to look as clean when you have ice that's lifted up off the ground. And I'll show you how this ice effect looks once I take this off. So here we are with the ice effect. Now I misspoke He also has another effect which is smaller that actually attaches to the 3 icicles right here, and this was the one where his hands get placed within the ice. This, his hands don't get placed. As you can see, you just make his hands appear to be forming ice, and that is how that's done. Like, again, it looks cool. It looks really cool. This is not such of a pain to get together than it is to place his hands in these little slots and line up all the shapes that these crystals are supposed to slot into. This one's a little bit easier and a little bit more less time consuming. But again, like I said before, make sure you heat up or do something with this ice effect on the ground, because depending on the angle that you're shooting from, it's going to look like the ice is not flat and seated on the ground. Okay, so the last and final effect is the popping of the eyes out type effect. Now this is a pretty cool effect. It's done a little bit differently than I thought it would be done, but still pretty decent. So how it's done is it comes with a separate hand, and it plugs right into. Now look at these fingers. Look at these short little stubby little fingers. But those fingers slot right into. Here, let's put Subzero back over here. Those fingers slot right into these ports here. I don't know if you can see that there, but they plug right into there. And it doesn't actually stay on the opponent's face, right? There's no way you can get it to stay on the opponent's face. It's just, you can use sticky tack, but it does have the mold and the outline of it. And then all you do is, like I just showed here, you put it in there like this, and well, of course on camera, and then there goes the face mask that constantly falls off each ninja figure. You guys are seeing the actual downside, which is good, so you know exactly what you're getting into when you're purchasing this. So you just place them, just prop it in there like this, and it's giving the effect that he is poking his eyeballs out. All right, now we'll go over some few size comparisons from Storm Collectibles line, whether it be Street Fighter and or Mortal Kombat. All right, now here we have Sub-Zero next to, from the far left, Black Panther, Scorpion, and then to the far right we have Shao Kahn. Obviously Shao Kahn is a brute and is a pretty tall figure from the Storm Collectibles Mortal Kombat line. All right, now here we have Scorpion from the left to the right, Smoke, Sector, Cyrax, and Hellboy. Now, it seems to be that Sub-Zero is about the same size as Hellboy, but the Cyborg Ninjas just edges him out, just edges Sub-Zero out. All right, now here he is next to two of the most tallest figures from Storm Collectibles line. To the left, we have Bane, and to the right, none other than Goro. Now, Goro is the tallest figure from Storm Collectibles. He just edges Bane out by the smallest of hairs. But compared to these two brutes, they're making Scorpion look like a kindergartner. All right, now here we go. From left to right, we have from none other than Storm, Street Fighter 2 Ultra Ryu, and Street Fighter 2 Ultra Ken. Now Ken and Ryu are the same height, and they're right around the same height as this Subzero. I do believe Ken and Ryu is just a little bit taller. Like, we talking less than a centimeter type taller. Like, seriously, not that much taller. All right, folks, what that's going to do it here for this review of Subzero by Storm Collectibles. I hope I made your decision easy to get or not to get. Remember, the takeaways, the effects are very nice, but they are also very cumbersome and very painful to deal with and get into position on this figure. Also remember that the faceplate comes off extremely easy. You gotta have patience. I advise you to take the faceplate off until you get a figure in the position that you wanted to get it in, and then put the faceplate on. All right, and so the good, great, easy to pose, easy to get into positions. Any desired position you want to get this figure into, you are going to be able to do so. It can do just about as much as the human body can do as far as the positions. So there is going to be a big plus. The stature is going to line up well with the rest of your Storm Collectibles line. It's going to line up well with some of your Street Fighter if you ever want to do some crossovers. You got that going for you. Like I said, the decision is yours. I done presented all the facts. Now it's out of my hands and into yours. I'm satisfied with mine, even though we do have some gripes. I got to give it a good solid rating of 7 out of 10. 10 being the absolute best, 0 being the absolute worst. All right, that's it. It's your boy Plastic Addict. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with your hunts. And if you're patient enough, even an egg can and will grow legs. It's your boy Plastic Addict. Get it how you live it. And I'll see you next time on the next review. Plastic Addict, out of here.